Guard officers.
He may be bragging.
He may be bragging. If a Coast Guard officer, if a military official stands up and talks nonsense before an audience of his peers, I would like to imagine that that institution would remove that person from a position of extreme responsibility. If there is a terror attack tomorrow in Gujarat, Mr. Loshali's actions are the ones which will, on whose actions on whom the residents' lives will depend. Instead, for 2 days, this has not happened yesterday. The government says nothing. The Coast Guard says nothing. This morning they denied the speech. We at the Indian Express withheld that video until the afternoon because we knew.
Was this video, if I may be allowed to ask, was this video given to you by someone within the Coast Guard? Was it a reporter? Was this an in-camera meeting? Was this supposed to be a meeting off camera? I'm just asking you because the video itself is the most damning evidence that exists there.
The video is videography made by the Coast Guard itself.
It's made by the Coast Guard itself.
Or by a person in their employ. I cannot vouch for, but that camera is not an Indian Express camera. We don't do this kind of sting stuff. It's before an audience of his peers, as you can quite clearly see. He is speaking before other officers of the Coast Guard, not one of whom seems to take any exception to this purported brag.
What according to you, how would you respond to what Sambit Patra and a few others are already saying? They even accused you when you raised your story about the boat having smugglers and not terrorists. That is an act of anti-nationalism. It's an anti-national act. Sambit Patra, to use his exact words, said you are providing oxygen to Pakistan.
You
said oxygen to Pakistan.
Rajdeep,
those were your words.
Let me clarify one thing and make it absolutely clear.
Yes.
My jibe about Pakistan oxygen may be to Abhishek Manu Singhvi, but I do not resort to such kind of retorts to journalism.
Okay, good.
Journalists are free to make their statement. But my question is to politicians, because they are the opposition, and any statement made by the opposition of this country gives oxygen to Pakistan. I have nothing against journalists of this country.
Okay, so journalists can raise those statements, but the opposition cannot. But go ahead,
you can raise umpteen number of questions.
Okay, let Praveen respond, and then I'll bring you in, Dr. Singhvi.
Let me just say this. I'd like to think we can have a discussion without impugning each other's patriotism. It's a national habit, which I would choose to refrain from. I don't think it's appropriate in a discussion. Having said that, if there's anything here that's keeping this debate alive, it's the nonsensical answers that have been offered, including regrettably by the defense minister. The defense minister in his first statement and in his interview to Headlines today says very categorically that the Coast Guard never came closer than a kilometer to the ship.
That's right.
In the very next breath, he says the ship was cornered and therefore its crew felt compelled to commit suicide. Just as a common sense notion, I don't see how you can corner something from a kilometer away. The defense minister then goes on to speculate about the cyanide story, while at once saying that the men were under decks. There is the initial story from the defense ministry about explosives being on board, which is rebutted by many experts who look at that image you're seeing on your screen right now.
And say that cannot have been done by
That cannot have been done by explosives. There are a whole bunch of stories here that have come out from time to time. I think as citizens we're entitled to know because this has consequences. This action happened outside India's legal jurisdiction. Our legal jurisdiction ends at 12 nautical miles. Tomorrow when Indian fishermen are shot at by a hostile navy and killed, we will have no leg to stand on and complain.
Isn't that the worry, Admiral Menon? Exactly what is being suggested by Praveen Swami today. If tomorrow an Indian boat is shot at by Pakistanis, how will we be able to claim the moral high ground after what has happened on the 31st of December and the fallout and the way we responded to it? They will use Loshali's statement now every time.
No, I think this just... Yeah, but I think this discussion is wandering off into strange alleyways.
Why?
Certainly, if an Indian boat is shot at in international waters, we have no recourse but to protest, and that has happened in fact in Sri Lankan waters very often when our fishermen have trespassed into Sri Lankan waters. But as far as this political discussion is concerned, if the idea is to embarrass the defense minister, that's one issue. If the idea is to embarrass the Coast Guard, that's a different issue. I think one should be careful about what our objectives are.
No, but hold on.